Lesson 1-6, Multiply Integers. Example 1. While playing a board game, Lawrence had to move back 2 spaces for 4 turns in a row. What integer represents his change in position? So he had to do this 4 times in a row, so 4. And when he moves back 2 spaces, he's going backward, so he's going negative. We could figure this out by looking at a number line. So we can start at 0 and go back 2 spaces. And then we need to do this for a total of 4 times. So I'm going to keep on going back 2 spaces until I have 4 different arrows. And we see that the result is -8. Notice that since one of the integers was negative, when we multiplied by a positive, it just kept repeating that group and making it more negative for the total. So we can use this rule every time that we multiply 2 integers with different signs. The product is negative. -3 times -10. Now we have a negative times a negative. They're the same sign, but we don't have a way to show negative multiples on a number line, so we'll have to think a little differently about this. We could look at 3 groups of -10, since that is a positive 3, and start from there. So we get -30 right here for positive 3 groups of -10. So we could think, what's the opposite of that? Since we started with -3 groups, that would be the opposite of positive 3 groups. So the opposite is 30. So that's one way to solve this by graphing. We usually would not go to a graph to solve something like this. Often we would use a rule, and so we're going to go ahead and look at what that rule is. So in multiplying 2 integers with the same signs, the product is positive. So we got positive 30. Had we have multiplied 2 positive numbers, like 5 times 2, we would get a positive answer. So this works whether they are both positive or both negative, but if they're the same signs and we multiply 2 integers with the same signs, the answer is always a positive. Now it's your turn to try a couple problems. You can use a number line to help you, but I would just use the rules, look at your signs, and try these problems. You can pause this for just a moment and then come back and check your work. For our first problem, -5 times 7, we are multiplying different signs. So we're going to multiply, we get 35, and since they're different, it'll be a -35. For our second problem, we're multiplying the same signs. That tells us that our answer will be a positive. 3 times 8 is 24, and since they're the same signs, when we multiply, we get a positive.